think if you're in like treacherous water and you can't swim, if you flail around, you create more problems for yourself, whereas actually if you lie back and float, you float.
I think you said that you were quite anxious before the first interviews. I know when I'm recording this show, if I'm speaking to someone, you know, like even before we got on this call, there's always a bit of anxiety before you hit record on the interview. So do you have any advice on dealing with pre-interview nerves? Maybe Serena, because this is like something that you actively coach people in, or I think it's something that a lot of podcasters do experience when they're doing it for the first time. Like, how can I build my confidence in doing this and not feel overwhelmed when I get on a call and start recording?
Can I just say, it's so nice talking to you when you know so much about our podcast. So thank you. We've had so many people come on who know nothing about our podcast, and they don't know about the ingredients and they don't know about the healthy habit. And it's really, really lovely that you actually know and you're asking us. And so thank you. Anyway, back to your question. Anxiety. So in the beginning, I was really, really nervous. And actually, the more that we do it, it doesn't bother me anymore. And I think that that's quite an important point when overcoming anxiety and overcoming nerves, is that the more you do something, the more you face your fears, the more you desensitize yourself to that anxiety. And I think with anxiety, there's a tendency to fight it, to resist it, to push it away. And all of that kind of makes the anxiety linger. It gives it an opportunity to get its claws in, and it basically gives the anxiety more airtime than it deserves. Whereas if you can accept, I'm a bit nervous, that's normal, I'm talking to someone who I admire, then that's fine. And another thing actually that's nice is anxiety and excitement have incredibly similar effects physiologically. Like in the body, if you monitored heart rate, sweaty palms and things, you wouldn't really know whether someone was excited or anxious. And so I think that we, for ourselves, can rebrand and remarket our anxiety as excitement in many circumstances. Sure, if you're doing something really scary, like, you know, a job interview, yeah, that is anxiety inducing, but talking to someone on a podcast doesn't need to be scary. And if you can just switch your mindset and tell yourself that you're excited about it, it makes sense of your beating heart and your sweaty palms, and it makes it acceptable, and it makes it far more appealing and manageable than telling yourself you're shit scared.
Yeah, or just like allowing yourself to allowing the anxiety to be there, like you said, that, you know, it is a natural response, and there are certain situations where it is only natural that you'll have some kind of anxiety around it. I like what you said though about excitement, because it is really the mental spin that we put on these physiological sensations that can kind of dictate how we feel about certain situations.
You know, it's so normal to feel that way. Even I'm pretty sure even seasoned pros will still get those emotions and still feel those emotions. I get like that a lot pre speaking to our guests. Serena is much more level-headed, so I just kind of stare at her and she's so calm and collected. But I think it's just really useful to know for everyone listening that everyone gets like that. It's a human reaction, human emotion, and yeah, rather than beating ourselves up about it, as Serena said, just kind of ride it and feel it and own it.
Yeah.
Everybody's winging it. I read a really good analogy actually the other day about anxiety, that think if you're in like treacherous water and you can't swim, if you flail around, you create more problems for yourself, whereas actually if you lie back and float, you float. And I think it's quite cool to see anxiety like that. If you fight it, the more you kind of resist and panic, the worse it gets. And actually, as Sarah said, if you just flow with it, it will burn out. It will run its course, and then you won't feel it anymore.
Yeah, it's funny, like it's the mind, and it all works in very paradoxical ways. And yeah, resisting and saying no to experiences will make them persist. But it's that's how it works.